Now that was a fun yachting trip. Wouldn't you say, Jambi? Come along, Jambi. Don't forget the door, Jambi. Jambi, we have things to do today. Jambi.
Yes, sir.
It's time for my afternoon libation.
Very good, sir. Will you be having your usual?
Yes, sir. After a day of yachting, it is time for me to wet my whistle.
Very good, sir.
Ah, thank you, Jambi.
My pleasure, sir.
You never water your drinks down. That's very good. Jambi,
Yes, sir.
could you come here for a moment?
Of course.
Sit down, Jambi. So tell me, what did you think of our little yacht race today?
Well, I think we got quite ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we did.
We got quite a bit ahead.
Indeed. Ah, that first mate.
And the last one wasn't that bad at all either.
Jambi, your mimosas are excellent. As I said, you never water them down.
Absolutely not, sir.
Speaking of watering things down, do you know what movie I saw recently?
I couldn't even begin to guess, sir.
The Robocop remake.
Oh, delightful.
What if I told you that even the worst neighborhood in America could be made completely safe? How do I know this? Because it's happening right now in every country in the world but this one. It is great to see American machines helping to promote peace abroad. So then tell me, why can't we use these machines here at home? Why is America so robophobic?
The Robocop remake was directed by Brazilian director Jose Padilla, his first American production, and it stars Joel Kinnaman, Michael Keaton, and Gary Oldman. And with all that star power, this movie turned out to be a piece of shit. So, I know, who would have guessed a PG-13 remake of an R-rated movie turned out to be a piece of garbage?
Moments like such as those are tragic, yes.
Now, the problem with this new remake is there's just absolutely nothing memorable about it. All the fun that was in the original Robocop is just gone. And what you're left with is a lot of boring exposition, boring characters, and just hiding for that PG-13 rating.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Exactly. See, you can name a line from the first Robocop remake, and I can't for the life of me remember any lines, or any good one-liners, or anything memorable from the remake. Now, as I've stated, usually R-rated, PG-13 remakes of R-rated movies just don't work. And the reason they don't work is because they lack that edge.
Yes.
What do you think, Jambi?
I think you're absolutely right. Action movies are entirely overrated these days, yes. Very much so. And I might add that there are not very many manservants in them.
No.
It's unacceptable.
The movies need more manservants, like Jambi.
Wow. We are going to make a lot of money.
It just felt like they didn't know what they were doing with this movie. And the worst part about it is you can tell they were trying to hide moments for a PG-13. you see, they spent $100 million on this movie, and they want to recoup the budget, but then they filled the screen with shit, and nobody wanted to see it, which is why it never made half its budget here in the U.S. It cost $100 million to make, and here in the U.S. it grossed $58 million or something like that. It came way under.
You know, back home in Nantucket, we have a saying that you cannot polish a turd.
No. You cannot polish a turd.
No.
A good example of a remake would have to be Dredd 3D.
Very good. Yes, yes.
Judge Dredd running around, shooting criminals. That's another thing about the Robocop remake. There are no memorable bad guys.
I don't know. I seem to remember the main character is an older gentleman. He had a fiendishness about him.
Well, that was the original.
Yes.
But the remake, there is no bad guy. There's no main antagonist. The movie just absolutely does not build up to anything. Like there's a part. Now this review is full of spoilers because, well, who cares?
Yes. I think I'll need a drink, sir.
As I was saying, the Robocop remake has no main antagonist. There is one part where he's trying to discover who killed him, and he found out the police chief betrayed him. And when he goes to confront her about it, they shut him down, and the police chief is never seen again for the rest of the movie. There is so many subplots that are just left.
Did he die?
I don't know. The movie never told me. It's like he gets shut down, and then you never see the police chief for the rest of the movie. It is bizarre. It's so many untied plot holes. Well, not plots, but so many untied subplots that just don't go anywhere.
All this talk of holes is...
Think of the yachting trip, Jambi.
How could I forget?
Anyway, where was I? Yes, back with this shit movie. Now, in the movie, they're trying to set up this main antagonist named Anton Vallone. And what happens with him is he's in the movie for about 5 seconds. And
That's all we need.
and he gets shot like in the middle of the movie, and that arc is completely finished by that point. Whereas in the original, the movie built up to a showdown between Robocop and the main bad guy, Clarence Boddicker.
Yes, yes, yes. And the robot with 2 big guns.
Oh yes, we'll get to that point later.
Woo.
That is a very, very good point.
Precious.
So, but to make a movie interesting, you need a good bad guy. I mean, look at The Wrath of Khan. When you have
All those men sweating. Oh!
when think of Ricardo Montalban as
Of course, we are one big happy fleet. Ah, Kirk, my old friend.
Okay. Yes. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay.
All right. Think of Ricardo Montalban playing Khan in The Wrath of Khan. How memorable Khan was, how theatrical he was, how bombastic, how incredibly egotistical he was, and the delivery of his lines, and how he taunted Kirk, and it completely built up to this showdown at the end.
Right. Yes, yes. I do recall that.
Mm-hmm. And you
Did
know,
he die?
Of course he died. He died in the explosion, the Genesis explosion.
Oh, that's right. He was left behind.
Mm-hmm. And in Star Trek VI, there was General Chang. Yeah, he was a good bad guy there. Who else was a good bad guy?
I always thought Spock was a little bastard, but that's just a personal opinion.
Well, he was in the remake. Oh yes, a trend that I've noticed with Paul Verhoeven remakes is to obtain a PG-13. What they're doing is when they fight, they're shooting robots. That happened in the Total Recall remake, where there's just an army of robots that they're shooting at. And in this one, there's a whole scene dedicated just to him shooting robots. It's so obvious and ham-fisted, like they do. Like you remember in the beginning of the original, where Ed 209 guns down the executive.
Yes. It's Desert Eagle.
And it just goes on for a while of him getting shot up and all the squibs pummeling out. And in this one, they have the same thing where Ed 209 he shoots a kid in Tehran. And what they do is, as he's firing, they cut away so you don't actually see anything. And then they go to, shooting robots, and then everything they shot is basically hiding it all for a PG-13 rating. Which is...
You have 15 seconds to comply.
Exactly. And yeah, all the swearing's gone. Like all the bad guys that were swearing at at Robocop. Yeah, that's all gone. There's all the bad guy, all these tough bad guys in Detroit don't utter a single swear word.
And all the twink boys are gone too.
When I bring up Dredd, I bring that up because Dredd had Mama, the main villain. It built up to the showdown with her and Dredd at the end, where Dredd tosses her out the window.
Yes. Out the window she goes.
Citizen Mama, your crimes are multiple homicide and the manufacture and distribution of narcotics. How do you plead? Defense noted.
Out with the old, in with the new.
That's what they say. Now, when I bring up Dredd was a great way to do a reboot. It changed things enough where it wasn't the same as the previous one. Thank God it wasn't like the previous one. They did ground a little, but they made it so that Judge Dredd acts like Judge Dredd. He's a cop that goes and judges people for their crimes, as he is. And it's brutal. Bad people are doing bad things, and Judge Dredd has to deal with them. And it was just such a good remake. It was just action from front to back. It was...
One fist at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One fist at a time. And Judge Dredd dispatching criminals with as much gusto and violence as they bring towards him.
Oh.
Now, in the original, they gave him a car because he's a cop. And when he busts somebody, he throws him in the car, he takes him back to jail. That's what cops do. In Robocop, the remake, he's Robocop, traffic cop. He'll pull you over and give you a ticket.
Did I call him Robocop? Robocop.
You might as well call him that. This shit movie. You know how Robocop had his gun in the original?
Oh.
And it would fire and it would
Yes.
And look at Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, he had the memorable, just that one.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh.
That sound
Harrison
effect
Ford sweating. Oh, it's all over the place.
Now, another reboot that I really, really like. And this is a good way to do a reboot also. And they'll never do this ever again. Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Da, 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 da.
Exactly. When they rebooted Star Trek the Motion Picture, the first thing they did was they got an actual director. See, the thing about remakes these days is I've noticed it was with Tron, the new Jurassic World remake is doing it, The Amazing Spider-Man. They get these directors that have only done commercials and like one independent movie. I'm predicting disaster for Jurassic World simply because I have no confidence in that director. He's done one independent film and all of a sudden he gets Jurassic World. That's not how movies work. When they did the motion picture, they got a guy named Robert Weiss. And Robert Weiss, by the time he did the motion picture, had 2 Academy Awards with him.
Yes.
For The Sound of Music and West Side Story. And he had directed The Day the Earth Stood Still.
May God forbid they were back in the 60s, but he still had them.
Robert Weiss, who is just an amazing director. And they put together this movie that was, it's not, Spock jumping down on a moving platform and punching people and getting all emotional and Kirk, disobeying Starfleet orders and it was very character driven about that. And when they did Star Trek the Motion Picture, it was about philosophy, exploration, dealing with the unknown, dealing with getting older.
Casual sex with complete strangers.
Yeah, with that, that's what it was.
Coincidentally, I had a thing with Fox ears.
And it just dealt with a lot of themes, and the new remakes are just punching and chase scenes, and there's really nothing to them.
It's the 1980s special effects, absolutely.
And we bringing up Ed 209, back to Ed 209 when you mentioned that.
Yes.
In the original Ed 209, they had one Ed 209, and he was big and scary, and he was. Everyone
They had a great sound effect.
Yeah, and
in the background, yes.
Yeah, and he could beat RoboCop one-on-one. He just flat out beat RoboCop.
Yes.
And RoboCop could not defeat Ed 209. He was just this big, lumbering, scary thing that
Hunk of metal.
Yeah, and this one, they have a fight scene. Robocop takes out like 3 of them. It's like, oh, there's 3 at 209s. I can take them all on.
Yes.
And the special effects he's jumping around. It is so bad. It like jumps into cartoon territory.
Terrible. A remake worth not remaking.
Like I said, I haven't been this disappointed in a film since Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah, I actually went to a midnight showing of that. And at the end, as the movie was progressing, I kept telling myself, "Is this the movie? Is this what Indiana Jones 4 is really about?" Then the movie ended, and I was expecting, Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford to come up and go, "April Fools, that's not the real movie."
No.
And I've been to a couple of midnight showings where we're all walking out, and people are talking about the film, and people are excited. When I came out of this movie, everybody was silent. Like, people had their heads down, nobody was talking. It was a crowd of disappointment.
Yes.
And I got the same thing from this Robocop movie. Although I will give it this, it is better than Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That is a statement in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Hollywood is learning. Like, they just came out with the rating for the new Mad Max Fury Road, and is rated R.
Now, wait a minute. Hollywood came out a long time ago.
Jambi.
I know. Love.
Anyway, they're coming out with more remakes.
Oh.
First things first, they're coming out with a Basic Instinct remake, rated PG. And they're coming out with a Showgirls remake, rated G.
What about Showboys?
That was starring you, and that's not rated. We can't show it on the internet on this site.
We saw a whole different side of it. Yes.
This movie feels like it was produced by a bunch of frauds. And in my line of work, I'm used to dealing with frauds. What about you, Jambi?
Yes. Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't.
Thank you for your cooperation.
So, Jambi,
Yes, sir.
what do you say we waltz over to the spa?
Oh!